All right, good evening, class. I apologize for not being live on Tuesday. Something came up with the family, and we have an event that we need to get to. And so, what I wanted to do was to cover some of the concepts that we were going to talk about quickly. One of the areas that we have talked about during class this semester is problem solving. And I wanted to give another week to problem solving. And I thought the best way to do that is most like a job application and interactive and kind of different than what we've really done as homework so far, is to try using HackerRank as a tool for you to submit your homework. So in the interactive model, like we've been doing with GitHub and GitHub Actions, you'll still be able to log into HackerRank, do the questions that I've picked for kind of this homework, and go through the process that a lot of employers use today for software development type of activities. And so the way I think about this is I want to help prepare you for the real world, life after college, looking for a tech job, all that good stuff. And so like GitHub Actions for the automatic testing and whatnot, I want to put you through kind of that interview experience. So the way this happens is usually you will sit down virtually or in person, virtually, with an interviewer who will give you kind of an interactive, multi-person screen to do some coding against. Since there are 45 or 50 of you, I can't do that one-on-one, but I can still use the same type of tools. As part of my job, I prototype these activities. I do these interviews for potential hires, new hires, applicants, whatever word, regularly. So this is really what it's like when you go for a tech job. Now, I also know a lot of you are not going to go for a tech programming job, but I think it's still good experience on coming up with the mental process of going to build a solution to these challenges. So what I'm going to do today, I've set up this fake job interview on HackerRank. I have a work account with my VCU address. You've probably already seen the email asking you to look at this test. So this test is set up of 3 of their standard questions. I think it gets the first is the easiest, second is a little harder, third is the hardest of them all. I'm going to use this as a homework assignment. I'm going to give you a full week to do this. It will be due Monday. Let's see, what is Monday's date? Whatever Monday's date is. The Tuesday's the 20th, the 27th, 26th. Monday the 26th by 11:59 as usual. Instead of emailing me or putting something in Canvas, I think I get a notification when you take this, so you won't have to worry about anything. I'll set up the assignment in Canvas, and when I get this, then I'll use that to grade you based on how well you do. To make it a little easier, let's say the first question, the easy question, is going to be 50%. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. The second question will be 30% of your grade. Which leaves a 20% of your grade for the hard question. I went through the hard question, and I don't think it's bad. I was able to knock it out pretty quickly with some lots of loops. But I think the explanation of it's good. So I'll walk through kind of the first one as an example. So I think I can try the test locally. I'm not going to solve it because, that's your homework. So I'll hit continue. We're going to use Python 3. Excuse me. So I'll put in my information. I have a lot of work experience. I will not consult. Agree. Start. So here's what the test is going to look like. You'll log in, or there's a link in the email I sent to you. You'll follow that link, and you'll come to a page like this. not only is this how interviews happen, but this is actually how a certification that we have internal to my current employer. All tech associates have to go through it to get a secure coding certification. Very similar format. So you will see this type of thing over and over, whether it's a CBT, computer-based training for work, an interview or whatnot. So we'll come in and we'll look at the first one. So the list of even integers. So I just clicked on the solve button and I get this interactive console. So on the left, you can see is the problem statement. On the right is where I'm going to write my code. And so let's see what happens. So I'm going to read on the left. In this challenge, you're required to implement a function that is named even. Okay, just like my tests, but you can see it's already given you the even and with two parameters, two required parameters. One is called start, one is called n. It takes two integer arguments, start and n. It returns a list of n smallest integers, n smallest even integers greater than or equal to start in ascending order. And so what you do, you'd come in here, you know me, I like my value variables, and I will return retval. So I am now satisfying the returns a list. I've got that part done. And then I'm going to write some logic in here that in the end is going to make some list. So this isn't the right answer, but let's say that is the list I end up populating. So after I write my code to dynamically build a list based on the input, I'm going to hit run code and you'll see what happens. So you'll see my fake code compiled successfully. My input was 2, 4. My output was 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3. As you can see in my list, but it expected 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's see, two integers start and n returns a list of n smallest even integers greater than or equal to start. Okay, so start was 2, and it's going to return 4 numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8. And that's what it expected. So this one you should be able to knock out really easily. Hopefully, I think it allotted, or what did it say, like 12 minutes or something like that. 12 minutes, you can do it in 10 minutes, easy. I always say that. But anyway, so that's going to be what this week's homework is. So if you think back to when we talked about the problem solving, understand the problem. So that's what this is. It's telling you exactly what to do. So what your job is to figure out what this code is asking you to do. Look at the data that's provided you, in this case start and n, and then figure out what it has to do. So it tells you more information, and then it gives you an input format for custom testing if you want to type in your own input. And then it shows you a sample case. So it says standard in 5, 7. So starting at 5, it wants a list of even numbers. It wants 7 even numbers. So without looking at the example output down here, I'm ignoring it. 5 is not an even number, so I'm going to start probably at 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, or whatever. Yeah, I said that right. Okay, and that's, as now I see in the sample output, that's what I'm supposed to get. So notice the first test result when I ran my code started on an even number, but the sample does not start on an even number. No big deal. So you need to handle both scenarios in your code. So you need to start with an even number. Then when you run the tests, I just clicked on that run test button. It'll run through these 14 test cases, and none of mine passed. I'm curious what they'll show you. Oh, they'll actually show you 0 through 4 on this. So you'll see test case 1 is at 5 and 7, 101, 3, etc. But it won't show you what 5 through 14 are. If your logic's right, it doesn't matter. Remember, these do have time limits typically. This one should be very straightforward, but some, if you're dealing with a larger data collection, nested for loops might not be the best idea. Remember that big O notation we talked about before. You want to get your algorithm as close to linear as possible based on the number of inputs that you have. So in this case, I'm doing a linear calculation, and n in the big O, with n in the middle, it's going to be directly related to n, which is the number of items to earn from my in my list. If your algorithm is n squared, a big O, n squared, this is probably going to time out on you. I bet you, knowing how these things work, test case 13, 14, etc., have much, much longer lists that you have to return. So they're going to make sure that you're not doing a big O n squared or even worse calculation. So you've got to focus and try to get it to as efficient as you can, especially if you start seeing timeouts. But when we write code, we write it 3 times. I don't know if I've said this in class before, but every time we code, we write things 3 times. The first time, we write it to make it work. Doesn't matter how pretty it is, how ugly it is, how inefficient it is. We make it work the first time. The second time, we clean it up. We make it a little more efficient. We make it a little understandable. We rename variables so they're easier to read. We make sure our code's document, all that good stuff. By the time we've done that twice, we say, oh, nuts, I can do this a whole lot easier. And we do it the third and final, typically the final time. That's not saying you have to write this algorithm 3 times or go through 3 iterations. Your job is to get through test cases to make this homework a success. And so, again, question number 1 will be 50% of your grade. Question number 2 will be 30% of your grade. And question number 3 will be the final 20% of your grade. I realize that the hardest one is going to be the least amount of grade, but I do that so you have a better chance of getting a better grade. The first 2 are very straightforward. The third one's a little trickier, so be prepared to spend some more time on it. I think I put a 60-minute time limit on this for the actual HackerRank test, but I'll probably change that to 90 minutes just to give you way more than enough time. So that's about it for this week. I'll send a email once I get this uploaded to YouTube or something like that, so you can watch this video. We will not have actual class Tuesday during class time, but since you've already got that time blocked, I highly recommend you use that class time to solve this. Please do this on your own. Do not consult with a friend. Don't try to Google these algorithms. One thing that HackerRank does is they monitor the internet to find anything that gets leaked. So that doesn't mean, and these are classified in the leaked category. So you may not find this exact thing, even if you did Google, but again, don't Google. But really challenge yourself and try to get this done. If you have any technical issues, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me. I will be around this week. And if we need to do some sort of office hours, we can absolutely do that. Just give me an email, give me a day or 2 notice. Excuse me, and we can find time to get together to talk through this stuff. So, best of luck. If you happen to be the first person watching this and trying the test, email me and let me know it worked. If you are having issues, again, email me. So, that is it. That is your short video lesson for the week. I hope you all have a great week. Enjoy this beautiful Richmond weather we have, or wherever you are. I hope your weather is as beautiful as it is here in Richmond. And I will see you folks next week.